and it runs on gasoline. When you drive faster and you go back below 25, it goes back on the battery. And it guarantees you more or less 40 miles a gallon in town. Sometimes you can get up to 50. If that battery would run the car all day long without having to be recharged to 55 miles an hour, that's 100 miles a gallon. Because you're only going to drive over 55 for a little while. Unless you're on the highway, that's not. But the point is, in town, it's 100 miles a gallon. Now, once you get a car that runs 100 miles a gallon, you can say to all those oil exporting countries, you can charge whatever you want. Charge $100 a barrel, charge $200 a barrel. We're going to keep our $300 billion at home and invest it in creating jobs in Johnstown and other communities like it all across America. Now, what is the problem? I know this is a little detailed. This is the kind of thing this presidential election is about, making these kind of decisions to create real jobs and real opportunities and put real money back into the pockets of people. Here's the problem. The batteries that will run all day long at 50 to 55 miles an hour are too expensive for you to afford now. They're made out of lithium, and we don't have enough materials to make them in big volumes. And we all know that every electrical product goes down in price if it goes up in volume, right? What's your experience recently? You got two experiences: flat screen televisions and iPhones, right? I mean, iPhones are a whole lot cheaper than they were when they came out just a few months ago, right? So we can do it, but you need the government to invest in how to create these batteries quickly at a more affordable rate. That's what her Strategic Energy Fund will do. Take money away from the oil companies and their excess profits from the nuclear industry and put it into doing things like making these batteries. If America could beat the rest of the world to the moon, surely America could beat the rest of the world to a battery to give you 100 miles a gallon car. Now, believe it or not, the largest number of jobs that could be created in the short run are from using available energy technologies to make every building as efficient as possible. It's like I said, we're doing this in the Public Housing Authority. Under Hillary's plan, funds would be given to state and local governments to redo every school building, every college building, every National Guard armory, every public building, city, county, state, public building. You just think about all the hospitals. And you can train unbelievable millions of people, literally, to go in and change the lighting, change the windows, make the roofs more energy efficient. You do this everywhere in America. None of these jobs can be outsourced to other countries. They require you to be where the buildings are. This is the way we can create millions of jobs in the short run that nobody can take away from you or anybody else in America. And think about it. These are jobs that will help college graduates like electrical engineers and architects, but they're also jobs for high school dropouts who can be trained as green-collar workers. Now, if you want this kind of future, if you'd like to create millions of jobs, if you'd like America to be more energy independent, if you'd like to do something to save the planet for the kids and grandkids in this room, then you ought to vote for Hillary, because she's got the best plan to rebuild the middle class for energy independence. Second thing is that she wants us to spend money on research and development in new technologies. Not just in things like stem cell research and human genome research and global warming research, but in old-fashioned things like manufacturing materials research. Hillary is the co-chairman of the bipartisan manufacturing caucus in the Senate. She actually believes we can get manufacturing jobs back in America again if we're manufacturing tomorrow's products with tomorrow's materials, and she wants to invest just so we can do that. She believes it's important that we do that. This is a big deal. We've lost manufacturing jobs in every year this decade. In 6 of the 8 years I was president, we gained manufacturing jobs. We can do it again, but you got to have a president that believes in the capacity of the American people to produce and to produce competitively, and who will repeal the provisions of the tax code that actually encourage people to shut plants down in America and move into other countries, and instead give people incentives to keep the jobs here with modern technology and modern training. Next thing we have got to do, if you want the American economy to be competitive again, is to do something serious about health care. Because we have two problems with health care. There is the moral problem that a lot of people don't have health insurance, but there is the massive economic problem that it has doubled in price this decade, which makes businesses that help their employees less competitive, and it makes consumers that buy their own health care have less money to contribute to the economy and consumer spending. So let's just try a little exercise here. Raise your hand if you know somebody without health insurance. Look, just look at this. Okay, here's what I want you to know. Let's just start with this. There is not another wealthy country on the face of the earth where you can get that answer. There is not another wealthy country on earth where the question would even be asked. Every other country that is in our economic range has found a way to provide affordable health care to all its people. And as a result, because they cover everybody, guess what? Every other system is cheaper than ours, though it covers everybody. If you took any other country's system, if you took the German system or the Japanese system, you dropped it into America, everybody would be covered, the health outcomes would be better, and it would cost at least, listen to this, $700 million less every year. That is the size of the trade deficit. So, Hillary said, if you vote for her for president, you elect her, we are going to have affordable health care for all Americans. Because it is, but it's a very important issue, because this is one of the clear differences between her and her opponent. And to be fair, his position is much better than what we got now. His position is, if you make it more affordable to everybody, we'll just mandate that kids be covered and let the adults buy it if they want. And they will, but they won't. The evidence is that 15 to 20 million people will not be covered. Here's the problem. You can't control the cost unless everybody's covered. And I'll prove it to you. Think about this. If you have health insurance and you pay health insurance premiums, I just want you to think about just two things. We can talk about 20. Think about these two simple things. Every time you write a check for health care, your money is going to fuel a pot of $50 billion that health insurance companies spend every year figuring out how not to insure people. Go figure, you pay money, so they figure out how not to insure people. Now why is that? Because we have hundreds of insurance companies with all these different policies and different size numbers of people that they insure, and they're scared if they have to insure a lot of sick people, they'll go broke. So they spend $50 billion of your premiums not insuring you, but figuring out how not to insure you. Now, second problem, think about this. Even worse. 30 cents of every one of your hard-earned dollars you spend on health care, 30 cents goes to paperwork. Unbelievable, paperwork. That is in total, listen, $200 billion more than you would spend if we had any other healthcare system in the world. That is twice what it would cost us to provide health care to every man, woman, and child in this country who doesn't have it today. Now, why is that? Well, just think about it. 2 million of your fellow citizens play tug-of-war over health care money every day. Insurance companies trying to keep from paying. The doctors, hospitals, and medical offices trying to get paid. A lot of us have been caught in the middle of that. How many of you, I bet you don't have to raise your hand on this, but I can look around here and say at least 200 people in this crowd today, minimum, who have been told that sometime during the last 15 years that yes, you have a health insurance policy, but the claim you're making is not covered by your policy. Am I right about that?